Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another podcast with your boy Mahul. And in today's video, what we're going to talk about is EV vehicles. I know so many people have controversial thoughts about electric vehicles and like so forth. Of like, is it really worth it? Is it really like people always try to like a lot of people like myself like, is it really worth it to buy an EV vehicle? Like, so we're going to talk a little bit about it today. I don't know. I'm not going to deep dive into it so much, but this is probably going to be a short video. But I just wanted to go ahead and just kind of talk about it a little bit. Sorry for that sun, man. Ugh, this early morning, sun's coming out. Texas heat's brutal. But for an EV vehicle, let's talk about it, right? People are always in the market like, oh, I want to get a Tesla or Tesla, like Model Y, Model 3, Model X, whatever the case is. I mean, they're cool cars. We actually, we actually have one for Turo, but people are trying to figure out, like, again, you can use it to make money, or you can use it to to save gas. But you have to think about it realistically, right? So like, even if you want to buy a Tesla, there's, again, a lot of people cannot pay cash for it. People all pay either finance it or whatnot, right? So you got to figure out what the math, basically. So for example, like for this X5, I spend about $700 a month just alone on gas, right? And well, yeah, let's just say $600 a month on gas. So okay, cool. If I were to get an EV vehicle, right, and then it would have to financially make sense. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, it has to financially make sense in order for you to make this kind of a purchase move. And if you were to buy EV vehicle cash, then you're fine, right? Then you're just charging yourself at the house, and then long-term investment, you'll recoup your money. But if people are financing the vehicle, right? It's like, let's say the Model Y is $37,000 brand new. You finance it within the normal standard 60 months. That brings, and then if you put like a $4,000 down payment, that brings your monthly with the tax credit, if you qualify, for like to roughly $600 a month, right? So if you're spending $600 a month on gas, then on a good credit, of course, right? You gotta have good credit to get a lower interest rate. And Tesla did actually have a promotion right now for a 0% interest rate, which was actually really cool. But again, there's a reason why they were doing that. They actually were doing a 0% interest rate because they are releasing a newer version of them, like a refresh version of the Model Y, and we got some sneak peeks of it, and it's actually really cool. So that's one of the things, is like, you have to know, because like, if you don't have good credit, right, and then you're gonna get a higher interest rate, so then that $600 payment will turn into a $1,000 payment, right? So if you were spending typically on $600 worth of gas on your gas vehicle, versus, and then having a $1,000 car payment, you have to justify. You have to figure out, because like now you're spending more, you're not really saving anything, but you're actually just, you're out $400 on that investment. Plus you have to pay for insurance on top of that. But for example, what I was thinking, it's like let's just say if you had that 0% interest rate, right? If you got good credit, you have that 0% interest rate, you're spending $600 a month on gas, just like myself, then that payment would roughly be around $400 a month, and which is amazing, because then at that point you're saving $200, plus you got an additional car, and that extra $200 will cover your electricity to charge at the house, plus your insurance on that month, for a monthly insurance. So that's like, those are the benefactors. Is like, again, like, you got to look at the pros and cons of like, is it gonna be financially good for yourself? Like, a lot of people are like, oh, just need Tesla. I mean, realistically, it's a very simple car. Like, there's nothing to it, it's the same exact body style, and like the refreshers are just like the headlights and the interior stuff, but like, and a little bit of suspension, but like nothing aesthetically, of like no new front bumper, nothing aggressive, or like, you know, how the other car manufacturers make it, right? But that's like, you know, Lucid is like another company, but like Tesla's on the very affordable, cheaper end. Like Lucid is another company, so is the Rivian. Rivian brand new is a $100,000 truck, and then now resale value, it's right around, like, let's just say the 2021 Rivian, the truck is selling for $62,000 for 20,000 miles. So like, again, it's cool, but like, you got to make sure, like, you know, if you're trying to cut back on savings and like trying to cut back like the cost of gas so you can save more money, then you got to really do the nitpicky of like, hey, is this actually gonna be financially worth it for me? Another thing to consider is like, some of us have the luxury of like, we can charge for free at work. So like, you know, what my thought process was, okay, cool, if I have an EV vehicle, I can charge for free at work. I don't have to use a lot of electricity at the house. I also have a charger at the house, and then I could plug it in whenever I need to, and you know, that would basically have another vehicle. The amount of money that I would typically spend for gas will cover that vehicle, and I could charge for free at work. Financially, that made sense, so which is why we did it. But at the same time, if you're a business person like myself, then an asset is not an asset unless it's making you money, right? So as much as like I love driving my gas powered cars, like I love driving to work, because you never know, because like we go out for lunches and stuff like that, like just like having a big car, and it's just nice, it's just more spacious, and like, and I love the power. So what I did was we put it back on the car rental business, and we put it up on Turo, and you know, that car makes us money, so like, you know, it covers itself. So but that's all we cared for. And like, so you gotta see the pros and cons of the EV vehicle and if it's financially good for you. So like, another thing to bring up too, like if you don't have the luxury of like charging at a work environment or anything like that for free, then you would have to charge it at the house. So typically, a lot of people may not know this, is like, again, these are the questions that come up in a lot of people's heads, is like, you know, the cost of like the fast charging stations and so forth, right? So like, I did a lot of deep diving and digging into it a little bit, and asking like friends and peers and like everybody who had it, you know. So a typical for fast charging your Tesla, which is pretty crazy too, you know, it boggles my mind. It's like, it takes 40 minutes from like 0 to empty. Sometimes, depending on the vehicle, it could take probably 40 minutes just to get like half a tank to a quarter tank, or like to 3/4 full from empty. So, and that will generally take, at a fast charger, will generally cost you right around $40 to $60, depending on your location of where you live. So then I was like trying to figure out like, okay, what is the cost to do it at the house, right? Because again, you want to make sure like if you were to charge at the house, you don't get like a crazy additional $200-300 on the electricity bill, because then at that point it's not financially suitable, right? Because you can do that, you're just losing money on that point. So a lot of times, a lot of people now that have solar, so they kind of build that into their solar plan, so that way it's very cost effective for them. So, which is what we're doing. And with charging at the house, typically, I talked to one of my friends who charges every day, who just drives the same exact commute as me, charges every day at the house, and they see roughly $30 to $50 increase on their electricity bill a month, which is pretty good, honestly. And like, I mean, the AC, like, you know, with like, for us in Texas, like typically like my electricity bill is like $100 a month, which is solid. Especially around the summertime months. Summertime gets for around $200, with, you know, because how cold we keep it in the house. But again, so like additional $30-50 a month on just charging my car at the house every day from 0 to empty, you know, that's you know, financially that makes sense, because like you're not breaking the bank on it. And so if you're in the market of getting an EV vehicle, you just gotta sit down, run the numbers, and physically run the numbers. Again, no matter what, I would never take an EV on a road trip. That's just myself, because time is, like I said, if you looked at my previous podcast, time is very valuable to me. I'm not gonna waste my time at a charging station for another like 40 minutes to an hour on a road trip every single time just to charge. I was like, no. I was like, rather just have my gas vehicle and like just be comfortable. Which is probably the reason why right now, like Hertz car rental, like the car rentals business, they are selling all of their used EVs. They're selling all their Teslas, and they're selling them really cheap, right? So like for example, like the Model 3s, they're going for $24,000. The Model Ys are going the same, $28,000. But you gotta also consider it, right? So new used, right? 40,000 miles onto it. But also Tesla, if you were to buy it, like Tesla always comes with an 8-year warranty for the battery on the vehicle. So like, which is really solid. So even if you were to get a used vehicle, this will be for 2023 or 22, and you still have an 8-year on that battery. So honestly, like those are ways that you can save some money too on the cost of the vehicle. But since you're buying it through used, typically used vehicles will have a higher interest rate versus a new vehicle. So like you just kind of have to, I guess, if you're seriously in the market of buying an EV vehicle, you just have to sit down, run the numbers, and get your pre-qualifications and see what you qualify for. And then that way you can, sometimes it's honestly just better just go ahead and pre-qualify through your bank, someone who you bank a lot with, and like that way you already have that relationship with them. So food for thought, just think about it. That's what I had to do. I had to sit down and actually crunch the numbers and see if it was best for us. Now we're actually in the market to buy 2 new cars. That's going to be coming up in a video later, because something happened and now it was devastating, but it is what it is. On to the next, move forward. But now we are in the market. Everyone's good, so on to the next. And like now moving forward, we have to look at continuing 2 new cars. All my friends tell me is like also like why I drive my X5 so much, and like how come I don't get rid of it? Because I was like, one, it's a fun car to drive. It's a V8 twin turbo, love it. Like even though it's gas, but at the same time, like this car has 170,000 miles onto it. This car is healthy as it could be, and I'm just enjoying this car till I got it, and like this was my tow rig and everything. It's always a fun car to drive. But that's my 2 cents on the EV vehicle. If you are considering on buying one, those are rough numbers of like whenever I sat down and actually ran the numbers and like talked to everybody, and so they're not like 100% accurate data, but like again, you just have to sit down, run the numbers, but those numbers are very close to the numbers I was telling you about. And yeah, hopefully that helps. But we'll catch you guys in the next podcast. The next podcast will be pretty interesting, but stay tuned for a couple of the videos we have on our other channels, or on this channel, but on the normal vlogs. And because we got some pretty interesting stuff coming up. But that's basically it for this podcast. We'll catch you guys next time. See you, everyone.